So what do you think that leaders need to know about the future and the generative AI capabilities? We discussed what needs to be done within the companies. Do they need to know something about the different way that they will manage their work or they manage their customers, or what do they really need to know?
For those that you know, these technologies are not autonomous. So, there are something, these are merging these things called agents that kind of do things on their own. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
let them no, let them figure out the, you know. But those agent technologies are have proven to be very ineffective so far. Um,
So far.
so far,
Yeah.
yeah, keyword there. Now, a big emphasis for OpenAI is on this agent technology, but so far it's pretty amorphous. So what that means is that to use these generative AI technologies, you have to, you know, you do have to kind of know how these computers think in a way, and that's where the prompt engineering comes in. So for like computer programming, uh, you can actually waste a ton of time if you're not prompting it correctly. There's sometimes when it's just quicker to do a Google search or a Stack Overflow search than to go through all the multiple prompts you'll do to get what you need to get. Um, or sometimes it's just better to have a notebook with certain things that you've been doing already and just go to that instead of having to prompt every time. And then there are other areas where the prompts really make a difference. So in computer programming, again, let's say I have, some complicated code and I get an error message and I have no clue really what this error message is all about and how to fix this problem. I can then write a prompt and say, look, what's going on here? How do I fix it? It'll explain it, it'll show me how to fix it, and that would save me maybe an hour's worth of time
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the more tedious simple stuff. So I think the key is to better use this technology right now is to understand, again, kind of going back to where we started before, where the strengths are of this technology, where you get the biggest impact. And when you know that, then understanding how to use prompt engineering in a way to get the answers that you need, and also knowing when prompt engineering is not going to get you what you need. That you're just going to go in circles and prompt all day long and just waste your time. So I think now that takes education and again that change management, but a lot of times employers will just say, here's your software, do what you want, and then the employees do all the things that probably really don't help you know further their job along because they don't
Yeah.
have the guidance, and why would you expect all of a sudden for them, because it's not magic, this technology is not magic, it does take some education, some learned expertise to get the best of results.
Yeah. So prompt engineering is actually the input for these kinds of models, and you need to know how to structure the input in the best way in order to get the right output, the right answer, or the optimized answer for your request.
That's correct.
And it doesn't matter if it's a third party or an open source model, you need to know how to do that. And I think that most people would know when they write an email, they would say, okay, write a professional email to this person. I want to get this and this done.
Mhm.
So they could more or less understand that, but it is much more complex in order to get something which is very specific or very precise, and to know exactly what you need to get from these machines, actually.
That's right. And then also, usually the first prompt is not, especially for complicated tasks, usually the first prompt will not get what you want. Usually have more of a general prompt, and then you have a few other prompts after that to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And the final thing is always review the content again because it could be wrong. Now, what the nice thing about ChatGPT, it's now starting to add. So what you could say is provide links to back up your conclusions. So at
Yeah.
least you have some basis in reality, to go off of. So that's another technique as
Yeah.
well.
If it doesn't imagine these links and they're
That's right.
real, right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
had there's cases where it'll create a hallucination, and then say, and then you'll after that you'll say find the hallucinations, and it'll go and actually find the hallucinations, even though
Yeah.
and that's where this prompting is like if you're not telling them what you want, it'll just kind of on a probability basis give you what they think you want. So you got to
Yeah.
be clear about what your intent is, and I think that's part of the issue too when it comes to prompt engineering is if you don't are not clear with the intent of what you're looking for, the results can be off, all over the map.
Yeah, so if we're thinking about leaders and the way they maximize the opportunities and mitigate the risk, you're saying that you need to train your people in order to get what you want from these models. It's not enough just to ask a question from ChatGPT and then to write it.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of that going on right now where you know, they have these access to these great tools, but not clear as to how to use them in the best way.
yeah. And especially if you want something very specific, you need to really train the model in a way. It's not enough just to have a license to ChatGPT and just to talk with it.
Right.
And if you're thinking about having these capabilities for your specific domain, internal or external, you need to really work with it. It's not that it knows everything. You need to be
Yeah,
very specific in your domain, of
absolutely.
course.